Okay, so today I'm actually going to be doing a little bit of a different video. Um, I generally do some sort of gameplay or something of the sorts, but today I'm actually just gonna quickly go over how to use a blood web effectively, how to try and use it to your advantage. Because it's something that isn't necessarily the most obvious way. It isn't really obvious how you're supposed to be doing this. So having somebody go through it is definitely helpful. It helped me for sure when I was trying to learn how to play this game. So first things first about the Blood Web, you'll realize that once you get to level 40, you have 3 perks spawned. So right now I have Dark Devotion 3, I have Haunted Grounds 2, and I have Bloodhound 1. Before anything else, you wanted to figure out what are you going to be going for as a whole. What's your plan for this Blood Web? So right now, I'm looking at the add-ons, and I don't really care about any of the add-ons that strongly. But for example, if I really desperately wanted this 11 soda add-on, right? Or actually, it's a pretty bad example. If I really desperately wanted this Blackboard, for example, I'd have to keep in mind that if I take a perk at first that's not Bloodhound, then I risk that Bloodhound gets taken by the entity, and then from Bloodhound, there's that risk of the entity starting to go upwards towards Macmillan's Phalanx Bone, which would cut off the Black Ward. Because that's what the entity wants to do. It wants to consume the next closest thing, but it starts from the outermost layer every single time. And if there's a perk up that you haven't taken yet, it will most likely take that at least one of those perks. So when you have 3 perks, whenever I take 1 perk, which is going to be Dark Devotion, it's going to take another perk, which hopefully right now will be Bloodhound because I don't really want Bloodhound. And for up until level 50, I think really the best way to go about your Blood Web is try and get through it as quickly as possible, meaning you buy as many of the brown or yellow add-ons as possible so you don't have to waste more blood points going for some of these greens, some of these purples, or unfortunately I have to go through through an Ebony Mori to get to Dark Devotion, but I mean that's not a bad thing inherently. So right now I'm just going to show you what I would do right here. I know I want Dark Devotion, and the other 2 perks I don't really care about too much, so I'm not going to worry too much about planning through them. And you'll see that the entity doesn't take anything until I take Dark Devotion, and then it takes a perk first. So right now I can't get 100 grounds, period. So all of these brown perks or brown add-ons rather, were something I was, or sorry, offerings, were something I was kind of looking at, like maybe I would want to get those, but since it took haunted grounds, I know that the only place entity can go is following this line over to the clear reagent. Now from the reagent, it can either go down, left, or up. Actually, it can go down, bottom left, top left, or up. So I really have no idea where it's going to be going because it is partially random. See, if I wanted to play it safe, and for example, I really wanted this cut coin, I could take this add-on, then go to this offering, and when I take this add-on, the entity is going to move 1 to the left and take his free agent. By taking this offering, it would basically cut off the entity from being able to get to the cut coin, which I don't really want, so I'm not going to be going for it, but that's definitely how you want to be thinking. You want to be thinking, where is the entity going to go next? So I'm going to be going for Bloodhound because I think this is the best way to do your Blood Webs. You want to be going for the perks as quickly as possible so you can knock them out. And now you see the entity actually went from the reagent down towards the bottom offering, then up to the left towards this offering. The only place it has to go now is the cut coin, and the cut coin is it's an offering I never use, so I'm happy to let it take it. And now knowing that, I'm going to start planning ahead. What do I want to be going for next? Now, I'm looking at this line of yellow add-ons. That'd definitely be the cheaper option than trying to go, for example, for this Mercury reagent or something else. But I gotta keep in mind that the entity, it doesn't actually double back. So you see that the reagent is actually in a straight line here to this brown offering. But since it already committed to going down and to the left, it's not going to go back up to that offering until later on. So right now the only option it has is to go to this cut coin, and then from this cut coin, it's going to randomly jump to any of the outermost offerings or add-ons. So that's the Black Ward, the Rotten Green Tripe, 11 Soda, and this Mercury reagent. So it's going to be completely random once it takes the cut coin. So I'm thinking that I want this because it's going to be the cheapest way for me to get through this Bloodweb. I'm going to go ahead and make my way over to there, and I got lucky and it took the Mercury reagent over to the right. Now I'm going to take this Rotten Green Tripe, and I'm actually going to right away take this add-on or this offering, because even though before it couldn't double back, since it's already on a path headed towards it, I know it can take away the brown offering, and I want to keep the brown offerings as much as possible. And then from there, you want to mostly be going from the outside in and trying to make the entity constantly jump to the outer parts so you can take what you want from the middle. And as I said, up until level 50, I really think getting the cheapest Bloodwebs possible is the best way to go about it. So right now, it just took this map offering, so I know that it's gonna head straight for the Rotten Pumpkin if I let it. So I'm gonna take this Rotten Pumpkin and make it go to this offering because it's further away from the Black Heart. It's always gonna take from the outermost ring if it can, and then it'll move in. But now that you get to level 50, these Bloodwebs are all going to be the exact same, or not the exact same as in perks, but the exact same as in they're going to always have 4 perks, and they just keep repeating over and over again. So I'm looking at this right now, and I'm thinking I don't necessarily want Whispers 3 or Thrill of the Hunt. And I see that they're actually both connected to a single line here. Nothing else connects them at all aside from this Rotten Pumpkin and the middle. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to try and take either Barbecue 3 in the top left or I'm All Ears in the bottom right. And in a perfect scenario for me, it's going to take either Thrill of Hunt or it's going to take Whispers. So we'll see how it goes, and I'll explain why I did it after that. Now this is perfect. It took Thrill of Hunt. I don't have to worry about this perk at all. Now something else to keep in mind is the entity usually doesn't go out of the middle. It usually tries to get into the middle as quickly as possible. It doesn't necessarily always follow that rule, but it's not too common that it goes outwards towards this unknown egg, for example, once it'll take this Deer Lung. But right now, my whole plan is to let the entity come over to the Deer Lung and then take the Rotten Pumpkin, which would completely cut off these two perks because there's no other way to get to them unless it's through the Rotten Pumpkin. So essentially right now I'm trying to manipulate the entity to go in the direction that I want. So you'll see it took the Deer Lung, and since the unknown egg was only connected to the Deer Lung, it cut it off because there's no way I can get to it now. And again, same thing. It cut off the Rotten Pumpkin, which cut off these two, because I can't get to them in any other way. This is the ideal scenario for me. And then it took another purple add-on. Now, at this point, if you want to be going for specific add-ons or offerings or whatever it may be, you gotta start planning ahead, similar to what I just did. But me personally, I don't really care too much about add-ons and offerings, especially since I almost only ever use brown and yellow ones. So essentially, what that means is I usually just go for the cheapest route possible. I'm gonna take this and hope that it'll keep going down this route. And this is actually really great. It's another example of this whole branch is connected only by this Rotten Green Tripe. So whenever it takes the Spotted Owl Wreath, when I take this, next thing it's gonna go to is a Rotten Green Tripe, and it's gonna cut off everything you see in the top right is gonna get completely cut off right now. Which is perfect for me, because I don't care about any of this at all. And essentially what that does is it makes the whole Bloodweb a little bit cheaper for me, and it lets me get on to the next one as quickly as possible to get more perks as fast as possible. And that's a general idea behind these Bloodwebs. You want to try and manipulate the entity to work for you. You don't want it taking what you want. You need to plan ahead. So for example, I know that I really want this Ancient Tactics in this situation, right? Now I can go for that tactics and see where the entity goes from there. It's going to take a perk for sure, and it takes surveillance off to my right. Now it can either go top or bottom, so I'm going to risk it and keep going to the bottom here. Now you'll see that once it got cut off, it went to this road Realty Key, and since it had nowhere to go, it just reset and went to the outermost thing it could. So when 100%, the next thing it's going to go to from this Bloody Part of Humor is over to this Ebony Mori. Now I'm going to take Bitter Murmur, so it goes over to the Ebony Mori. Actually, oh wait, sorry. That's the one situation where it won't change, where it won't take the Ebony Mori. Because if you take a perk, it will automatically take another perk in that same moment that you do. So there's no way for you to get several perks, and I believe from now it's gonna head over either towards the Putrid Oak or the Mercury Reagent. You'll see it went down to the Mercury Reagent, but I want these brown add-ons. I like having the brown offerings and add-ons because that makes the Bloodweb cheaper for me. But I gotta think ahead, right? So this one's about to get cut off because it's either gonna take this Fate Reagent or I am. I'm probably gonna let it take it because actually no, I'll probably end up taking it. But it has, let's see, 4 chances to go somewhere after this. It'll either go to the Black Heart, to the Mori, to the Putrid Oak, or to the Whistle over here. So if I'm lucky, it won't go to this Black Heart. But for example, if this was a green add-on, to just say something else, I'd probably end up going for this Black Heart to confirm that I'm going to get it as opposed to the Entity. Now since they're both brown, it's kind of a difficult situation, so I'm just going to risk it, and unfortunately it took the Black Heart, but that's fine because it'll also take a Black Ward, which is another expensive offering, which I don't really use too often. So right now I'm going to take this Barb's Glasses, and I'm just going to keep going around my way, making my way with the cheapest things possible in almost every situation. But yeah, that's the general idea behind using the Bloodwebs. You want to try and bait the Entity into taking stuff it doesn't want, essentially. But yeah, that's the basics of how to use the Bloodweb to your advantage.